Control copy. Okay. Let's go ahead and oh, I can fix this problem about the play button.
Problem?
Well, they have to actually hit the button on the big thing. There's a big play button on the screen, but they have to click it in order for the webinar to start. Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
I just don't want people to get confused and see a big screen with a play button and not know to click the play button.
If I'm not screen sharing, am I still on? I just left that screen.
Whoever you see as live on your screen is going to be live. So
oh, okay, so all I see is an empty screen on this one.
Oh, you're looking at the web page? What are you talking about?
Okay, right now I can see you. If I go over here, I can't see you because I'm on a different screen. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The camera should be green all the time, and then the only time it turns off is when you go to screen share.
Right, okay, good.
All right. All right, so let me go blast on all the channels that we're starting. And the link to the website is here if you want to share it with anybody who wants to join. Let me send it to you via messages.
You sent an email, an audio at remotes webinar thing.
And I sent it there, but I'm just going to repost it so you have it in case you want to.
I just forwarded it to my whole email address book.
Okay, that's great.
On my show cues group.
Yep, I'm going to go on a couple of Facebook groups and add that this thing's live now.
Okay.
Or will be in at 1 o'clock.
All right.
All right, 2 o'clock, I should say. 1 o'clock my time.
Yeah.
Okay.
My email didn't go.
All right, you need to use the bathroom?
I'm okay right now.
I'm gonna hop I'll hop off. I'll publish the new page in about 10 minutes. We should be live.
All right.
Oh, wait, I didn't put it on my actual own fan page.
Oh, yeah, I just put it on a few different pages,
Good.
entertainer pages and show cues. I think that's everybody.
So what are you gonna, I would say, I have a small suggestion. You can take it or leave it. I would say you should try and do like, before you like delve into it, you should say, listen, if you just want to play your tracks, you just want everything to fade out, you just do this and that. And like you say playlist, check mark all of them, hit that, and by default, it does all that, and you're ready to go.
Right.
And keep going deeper and deeper.
Yeah, just get the bare bones first, yeah.
Okay. Because I know a lot of people, seriously, it floors me how many people haven't used like any kind of show automation. So, and I'm sure most of the people on here have, but just to knock that out real quick, and especially since it's going to end up on my website as a tutorial or introduction to your app, you just want to start on the absolute surface of it. And
Yeah.
just the minimum to get up and running.
All right.
You look very scholarly today with the turtleneck and the glasses. Very, very good look.
Well, it's cold outside, and I can't read close up without them. I'm kind of forced into this.
You look like a programmer.
Oh, thank you.
With a bunch of magic in his background, and that's good, man.
Yeah.
And you got all kinds of props back there. All right, let me see what's going on here.
Does it look too messy?
No, it looks good.
And should I open that curtain, or enough light you can see? Okay.
No, oh, funny. You don't want to. If you backlight you'll turn into a shadow.
Okay.
Double check the links here. Yeah, whatever you don't close the window that we're talking in, because you have to start all over again, and I have to like re-invite people and everything, so it's a mess.
Okay.
Well, actually, with my system, I just have to re-embed something, but it would definitely derail things for a little while. Try and avoid that, if at all possible. Okay. I'll keep my email up on the side, so things that come in I can take a look at. You're going to be doing a lot of talking, so I don't know how many questions there really will be.
Yeah, depends on how many people even show up. You never know.
Hey, even if they don't, it's archived, so this will last on a replay forever. So I'm trying to make it count. Hang on, toolbox. Coupon code. Boom, 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 boom. Done and done. Have you been working with Royal Caribbean much?
I did for years, but I haven't for several years. I started doing Princess. I was getting this like all Princess, so it's been a while. But I worked for them like 8 years straight.
They just recently are talking about travel insurance. Like I need
yeah, I've
like
heard that.
$100,000 in travel insurance. I'm just like, I have health insurance, I have disability insurance. I'm like,
right.
No, I have money. I can take care of myself if something goes wrong. Like, what the?
Yeah, but I heard they weren't even letting people on the ship if they didn't have it and stuff like that. So
I got one coming up, and my agent, my agent office is just like, no, you need this, this, and this. And I'm like, God, more hoops, man. That's just what I love.
Yeah. I haven't had to be bothered with it yet, but
I'm guessing celebrities the same way because they're under the same umbrella.
Yeah, probably. He was telling me Slippery doesn't use Mentalist. I said, okay, that's great.
That's right. That's what you're switching to mostly, aren't you?
Yeah, I did several years ago, and that's all I do now is the Mentalist show. It's really, really cool.
Well, it's a shame because you got a great close-up show too, man.
Yeah, I mean, I could still do it if I need to, but
add on.
Yeah, it's an extra.
All right. I'm going to go 1 minute before. That way it gives it a little bit of time to buffer.
Okay. Got 3 minutes then.
Yep.
Cool.
We're locked and loaded, and all I have to do is hit publish changes, then all of a sudden that link will change for everybody. And
perfect. I'll be right back. 1 minute.
Sure. All right, Carl, we're up and live.
All right.
I figured I'd do that just in case people need the page refreshed, because I just changed the page, so they're probably going to have to hit the refresh button to see the window if they were already on. So I just want to try and beat them by a couple minutes. So they might be. We have 2 viewers on right now, so they're going to probably be coming in as the page refreshes. Hey, everybody who's just joining us, we're just going to send out a little email blast to make sure everybody knows to refresh their browser and so they can join us on this talk. Let's go ahead and bring that up.
The users show up only on your end.
It could be. You should see it in the bottom right hand corner of the Google window. You see viewers.
Not the Hangout window, the Google window.
The Hangout window. You see me and you, and then underneath you see 9 viewers are on now. So we got people here. Hey everybody. going to start in just 1 second. It's going to send out one last blast to everybody on the mailing list, let them know to refresh that browser so they can bring their screen up. Don't want anybody to feel left out. So everybody on, you guys are going to get another email in your inbox right now, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, I've got no numbers here.
Maybe I just see them all here.
Okay. Does that help any? A little more light? A little less light?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not looking at the screen right now. I'm setting
okay.
up.
Maybe a little better.
Okay. Right. Just get rid of this. Let's start in 1 minute here.
Mm-hmm.
Test. All right, save and exit. Just giving a second for a couple other people to join while I send this guy out.
Okay.
Looks like we got about 30 people on, Carl.
Wow, cool.
All right, so let me send this out to everybody, make sure they know. Send broadcast. Send
Broadcast live.
Okay. All right, I'm done with that. We can get on with the show. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming. I am Charles Peachock. I am on the road right now. Did a show last night. I got the day off, so it's perfect. I got to focus and get to you guys on this webinar. We have Carl Andrews on the other line. He's going to be joining us. #1 show app used by Jeff McBride, Paul Daniels, Peter Samuelson, like top magicians. They're all using this thing, the most downloads of any show app. And he's been at it for years and years, so it just keeps getting refined. So we got that to look forward to in a second. I know a lot of people who have already ordered. Thank you so much, guys, for your belief in the system. You are going to be thrilled with it. I poured my heart and my soul into this and all my show business experience and a lot of money. But it's been great, and I want to help you guys have a seamless show. I did have Dave with me on the road. Let's take a look at it right now. So. Right here is the good old beast, okay? And outside is my maid cleaning my hallway, if you can hear that. So everything fits nicely right into this little carry case. Oh yeah, by that, also at the end of this, we're gonna be giving away a coupon code for a free carrying case if you order the Audio Ape system. So we have a little stand for your iOS device right here. We don't wanna just hang it out on stage, all right? You're gonna have to hook an antenna to this, but the nice thing is it's a quick release and quick fitting antenna, and it's flush. It doesn't have anything that can break off or anything. This is an aluminum hard high grade system. This is something that will not break in your bag. So all you do is this PNC connector, so you just slip it in and then you twist right here with 1/4 twist and you are up and running, okay? So there's your receiver, done. All right, now you power it with the cable and plug that are included. Now this plug is thin and it also recesses too, so it doesn't strain the plug or anything like that. And as you travel, when you're ready to use it, you flip these little tabs up and you are ready to go. Now, I opted for USB power. That way, just in case if on the road you left your power adapter behind at the show or something like that, you're not going to be stuck with a custom power adapter you need to order or try and find. So any USB with enough amperage will be good. So most of them that are rated for an iPhone or iOS device are going to be sufficient for this and your device. And also, it's very thin, so if you have a power strip backstage, you don't have to unplug anybody else's thing. You just plug that in right there. And then this goes into the back of your unit to power it. You can also use the battery bank right here, but to be honest, for full shows, I would feel safe using this. In a pinch, or if you're out in the field, or some people really like these, you can use them to power your unit and charge your device at the same time. So once you're ready, you basically plug this guy in here in the back, any iOS cable that's Apple certified. You plug your device in, and as soon as your device is plugged in, right here, the green light comes on. That means you're in business, all right? It means you're up and running, you're communicating with your device. Let me bring up the Top Show app right here. Music is playing, we'll just set it down right here. Now the remote is tactile, all right? So it has raised buttons. So when you hit the button, also it's very responsive. You notice there's no delay. As soon as I hit that button, click, it stops, click, it starts. So no delay. There's volume controls. The range, I can't demo it here, but we have videos out of people demonstrating the range to great capacity. So look those up on our website. There's also fast forward. You can be playing a track, hit this button right here, and by default, it fades out, stops, brings up the next track, and you're off and running again for the next one. And if you need to go backwards, you can do that. These are all the default remotes controls. They're set to default the way this app interprets them. Carl will explain how you can customize it a little bit more. A lot of people have just one button. So one button will fast fade out, cue up the next track, but Carl will go into all that. He knows that app forward and backwards, of course, since he programmed it. All right, so basically that's the remote. Little guy, fits in your pocket, tactile, very responsive, very quick. And this is the unit, and this is the carry case right here. And like I said, it's going to be high-grade aluminum. The audio port is going to be here on the ones that are being built. And in fact, there's one waiting for me at my house. So I'm going to test it out and send you some updates on that, guys. But it's ready to go. The enclosures are being finished up over at our plant. They're going to be black, blazing with the logo, and also all your FCC and CE certification. So if anybody asks, you're cleared for the world to be able to use this anywhere in the world. And all the Apple insignias for use because we're certified with Apple. And we've done a deal with them. And we have a certified Apple manufacturing plant. So this is the unit. I thought I'd give you guys an overview. I am actually going to turn it over to Carl, our app developer. Carl, they're all yours.
All right. Well, thanks, Charles. First, I just tell them just a little bit about ShowCues for those that don't know ShowCues. It's been out a few years now. The idea was from Sean Pop, who talked me into doing it. And he's just persistent about it because I didn't think there was a need for it at the time. But having gotten into it, it's awesome. And I've got tons of users and people are really enjoying it, but they've always, one thing missing really was a remote of equal quality to the app, and now that's available. So we're very, very excited about Audio Ape. So I'm going to switch over so I can demo this on the screen, the functions of ShowCues. So I will be switching over now. You'll lose my picture, but you'll see my iPad. Okay, so right now you should all see the iPad. This is ShowCues up here in the top. What I really like about ShowCues also is that it just has a very nice display on all the different screens. All right, here's your main menu here. 3.2 is not out yet. This is a beta that I'm working on, and I'm showing you now. 3.1 is the one in the App Store. Down here, you have your settings button on the bottom on the left. In the middle, you have the playlist screen, and then, of course, the instruction manual on the right with the little eye. So if I hit the skiers, that takes me into the settings menu, and you can see I can have a clock, 24-hour, 12-hour by default. I can have a timer, count up or count down. I can turn the timer warning on, and that will just let me have a little warning on the screen, a display when I'm running out of time. And I can set the warning time, say for, if it's a 45-minute show, I can set warning, give me a warning at 40, and the screen will turn pink. And then it'll turn red when you've actually passed the 45. I can say what track I want to start the countdown timer. Right now it's set to track 1, which is the very first track. The fade out button. If I'm going to want to fade out, and most people will, you turn the fade out button on, and you can set the duration in seconds, however many you want. The default is 5, but I've set it to 4. The play pause button is if you want to use the remote control play button to do both play and fade. Just one button. Otherwise, you'd normally use the play button to play, and the next button would do the fade. So you have control over that as to how many buttons you want to use, 1 or 2. The no pause feature is if you wanted there to be no pause at all, just play one track right after the other nonstop. All right. Then you go down to adjust to fit. That's the track title. Sometimes track titles that maybe you downloaded are really, really long and they don't fit well in the screen. You can say adjust font to fit, and whatever that title is, it'll make it all fit into that screen. The other thing you can do in the track settings that I'll show you in a few moments is you can rename the track to something else, like egg bag track or play on track for, audience play on. You can rename them anything you want. I'm checked to show the track numbers. You can turn that on or off. So it'll show track number 1, track number 2, and it'll just put a number in front of the track title. Show next track. You can have the show next track so that the title is on the screen, and below it in a little smaller font is the next track coming up. Now, if you turn the cue sheet feature on, which is the next button down here, that will turn off show next track because the cue sheets take up that space, so the next track won't be showing. What's nice about the cue sheet feature is I can actually have anyone run this app with just a few seconds of instruction. All I have to do is read the screen, and I can have cue sheets for each track, which say, when I ask for a volunteer to come up, play the music. When they arrive on stage, fade. So if they can read, they follow the instructions, and the cues pop up automatically for each track. So it's very nice. You only have to put those in once. The skin, the background skin, you can select from a variety of different screens to have on the background. I have the black mesh selected right now. Here's your master volume for all the tracks. So right now I have it set on 70%, but you can slide the slider and put on anything you want. The remote center button was only used by the iJet remote. We had iJet make a special remote for show cues that had a programmable center button. The problem we had with iJet is they just seem to be inconsistent as far as quality control. We've tons of customers that are very, very happy with them, but we've got also quite a few that aren't happy with iJet. They were the largest manufacturer of remotes, that still are in the world. They just were not happy with the quality. So again, very happy with Audio Ape Remote now being available for you. So kind of ignore those for right now. Then down here you have other links to the website, to conjuringcabinet.com, which is Sean Pop's site. He sells the remotes, and we'll have Audio Ape in stock as well. Okay, so you get out of that screen. As I said, the little eye down here on the right, this is just going to be the manual. You can also email and request to have a PDF format of the manual, which sometimes is a little bit more up to date than the app, because once the app goes on the App Store, what's there is there. But I can always adjust PDFs to expand instructions, so you might want to ask for that. In the center is the playlist button. Now I have a playlist. It'll automatically load the last playlist you had. This isn't a device that I use for my shows. This is my wife's iPad that I just borrowed so that it would show up nice and large on the screen, and she just had a few tracks, so I put a few of them in there. So what you're going to do when you first get it is there are no tracks here, so you're going to have to create a playlist. So you'd hit the first icon up here. It looks like a pencil on a piece of paper, and you'd give the playlist a name. I'll just call this Test 1. Hit OK, and now a little media picker will pop up. and you can use any song that might be on your device. All right, so I'm just going to pick a song. Well, actually, let's get more than one. Anytime I hit the plus button, and if I had like an album, I can actually just select the album and it'll take all the songs. But I just did that one at a time to get a couple of them on there. All right, so now that I have my song selected, and you can have as many as you want, I'm just putting 2 on there for now. You can go into the individual track settings. Now the first track, you cannot use individual track settings because it uses that track to initialize. So don't put any special features on the first track. But starting with the second track, I come in here and I can type in, there's the cue sheet. So I turn on the cue sheet feature. That's what they're going to see on the screen, whoever's running your app. And they can tell when to play and when to pause.
Hey, Carl.
Yeah.
I love that cue sheet thing, by the way. That's one of your most powerful features. It's great. How do people actually get the songs on the iPad? Is it do you dump them on there, or is it sync through iTunes, or how are the tracks on there?
Well, the 2 ways you could do it. One, you could download, if you buy your music from the iTunes store with your device, then they'll download right to your device, or you can just sync with iTunes on your laptop or your desktop and sync whichever songs you want to come on. The main thing is you want to make sure that the tracks are on the device, because if they're in the cloud, and sometimes Apple puts them up there by default, they won't play on show cues. Only Apple's music player will play music in the cloud, at least for now. They're not allowing other apps.
Up if they're in the cloud or not, or
well, what you can do right now is on iTunes or on the Apple Music player, you can go to the track, and there's like 3 little buttons on the right side next to the track title. It's like a more little pop-up, and it'll show a cloud with an arrow coming out of it if it's in the cloud, and if you tap that, it'll download it to the device. What I'm doing with 3.2 that I'm working on now, this beta is almost ready. When you go to pick songs, if it's in the cloud, show cues won't even show it, so it's not even going to be an option. So you won't know you have a track that's not playable.
Always improving.
Yeah, right, exactly. And the one that's in the App Store now, I think maybe on 3.1, if you did put a track on there, it had a little pop-up when you went to play it that says, this track is not on your device, please download from the cloud. But then I decided on this version to just avoid that altogether, and it's not even going to make it an option. So if you don't see the track, that means it's not on your device, and that'll save you that headache. So now you've got them on your device, either syncing with iTunes or you purchased them with your device, and once they're here, you've got them on in your playlist. You come into these individual track settings, and if you hit, and these little eyes next to these will tell you more about what these things do. If you hit the if you hit play, what it tells it to do is to just play, and it'll play immediately as soon as it queues up to that track. I'm sorry, I'm reading at the same time. If you hit pause, it tells it to automatically pause. Now, by default, it does pause anyway. So these are just, had you had it set to play non-stop, like you could have in the regular settings, and you want one particular track to pause, maybe you're at the end of that run of song after song after song, well, there's pause. Delay is nice because you can put the delay on, and I can have, say, 10 seconds. And what that'll do is it says when I hit pause, so let's say I've got the remote in my pocket, and I've got a delay. I want a delay from the time I press the remote button to when the track plays. I can set it for whatever seconds I want. I've got this set for 10 right now. So I've got Audio 8 remote in my pocket, and I press the button, but the music doesn't start. I know I have 10 seconds. So once I press the button, I can talk for 10 seconds, and then the music just starts without me having to reach down and touch it again.
Or you get your hands free to grab a prop or something like that.
Right, you have your hands free at the time. So it comes in handy. I've used it a couple times. Jump will just jump. So instead of fading to the next track when it's playing, you hit the next button, it'll just jump right to the next track should you want that. You could have it loop. Let's say you have a small track and it's for audience play on. You're asking 4 people to come up and join you on stage. So this is a little play on music for them. And sometimes they may take a little longer to come up on stage and the music runs out. Well, if you have the loop set, it'll just keep looping over and over and over again. And when they get on stage, all you have to do is hit the next button and it fades out. So you never run out of music when that happens, that you're asking for people on stage. Auto fade, so let's say you had your remote and the track plays. If you have auto fade set, you don't have to touch the remote again. When it gets within the last 5 seconds, it'll automatically fade itself out. So it saves you a button press. Crossfade, it'll fade out and then just fade the next song in. You can turn that on or off. The individual track volume is for if you want, let's say you have your main volume at 7, but you want this one track to be all the way up or down to 4. You can set this, turn that on and set this one track to play at, say, 40%. When this track's done, it'll revert back to the main setting, which was, in this case, 70. So this is just if you want a particular track or two to be up or down in volume. Here you can rename this track. So I can hit the rename button and I can name it anything I want. I could name it play off, play on, whatever I want it to be. And that's what will show up instead of the song's title. Now this doesn't affect the real name of the song. It only affects show cues displaying the song. And then down here, you can turn this button on to have the track start length set. So what you would do is you'd turn this on, and let's say I have a track and maybe I didn't have time to edit it or anything. I've just got like a 3-minute track and I only want to play 10 seconds of it. And I want it to start 20 seconds in. So I can tell it I want 20 seconds in and I want it to play for 10 seconds. And that particular track will start at when you hit play, will start 20 seconds in and play 10 seconds. So you can edit it that way. If you, I had a customer one time said he got an idea for a bit while he was driving to a gig, and when he got to the parking lot, he went to iTunes, downloaded the song he had in mind, and just used this start feature and had exactly what he wanted. He didn't have a computer to edit the track length or anything like that, so he was able to do it all on the fly, and by the time he walked in the building, he had a new bit and the music and everything for it. So those are your track settings. Pretty cool. All right, so at that point, you want to go back and hit this center button. This turns it to the play screen. Now here you'll see at the top left, that's the countdown timer. Right now we had it set for 45 seconds. You'll see it says test 1, tells me which playlist I've got loaded, because you can have several playlists.
Is that 45 minutes?
That's 45 minutes.
Yeah.
45 minutes, 0 seconds.
Got it.
All right, and this is the local time, 2:21 here. You see I've got the number on the track numbers turned on, so this is 1, Cedar Road, and it's got that other one that I remember I named it Play Off. It says Play Off. You got a battery indicator here, shows you your percentage of the battery. You see the track length down at the bottom right, 425 for this track length. The home icon will take you back to the menu screen, which I'm going to do right now because I forgot this is very important. On the playlist, you can have as many playlists as you want. In this little folder here, it shows these are the playlists, and I can select, you know, show 1, show 2, kids show, whatever different shows I want, I can have set up on here. Now let's say I have one show and it's got maybe 30 tracks, and then I've got, and it's a 45-minute show, and then I get asked to do a 35-minute show, and I want the same setup minus, say, 2 tracks. So all I do is I hit the 2 times button, which means duplicate, and I'm going to duplicate this track. I'll call it track.
What's that list?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a second playlist. I'm just repeating it.
Right.
So now I've got track dupe. So now in track dupe, I don't need a couple of songs. I just erase them, and I can either swipe left or hit edit, hit the little minus button, and those tracks will be gone. Hit done. Now I've got 2 exact duplicates. One just has 2 tracks less because it's for a 35-minute show. So I didn't have to enter all 30 tracks all over again. It was just a quick couple steps. All right. So
when I see you swipe like that, Carl, there's a couple things that come up. There's the delete button, but there's also a rearrange button, I think, on the right.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you can rearrange tracks just by dragging them. There's, like, you'll see 3 little lines on the right here. This pretty much works with most Apple apps, you'll see, but you can drag and have as many as you want on there. I just want to put another song or 2 here. It just seemed to...
If any of our viewers have some questions, there's a question tab on the web page you guys are on. Feel free to click on it and ask Carl or myself anything while we're on this webinar.
Okay, yeah, it's very good. All right, so I'm back to the screen. Now I have this timer with 45 minutes set to go with track 1. You could set it to go with whatever track you want. Down here in the bottom, you'll see the volume bar. It's I'm moving it now. All right, so you see all blue, then it's going to be all the way up, and this is, you know, as it turns gray, it goes down. And you'll notice this also moves as it plays. So if I hit play now, you'll see the yellow, which is the pause mode, the yellow background. Cedar Road is the song, and yellow is the background. Yellow background on the button. When I hit play, notice it turns green. It's playing right now, and you see the countdown timer is going. By the way, if you want, you could tap on that to pause and tap again to reset it if you wanted to start it later. Just a bonus little feature there. I can turn the sound up, and it'll make that the new master volume, by the way. If you're in the room and you decide, you know, it needs to be a little bit higher than the 70% that I set, well, you can move it. You can do this with the remote, and it'll make that the new volume. Now, if I hit the next button, you'll notice it turns red as it begins fading out. You see the volume slider go down. We had it on the 4-second play out. All right, so it went down and automatically queued up the next song, which I had renamed Playoff. So if it's not playing, if you're in that pause mode, you can arrow through here and all the way back to the beginning again. All right, you could be playing a song. Remember the countdown timer? I had this one set for 10 seconds, and you see it count down. You can see it visually on the screen, and I could be talking to the audience knowing that that's going to come on in 10 seconds. That's a quiet song. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's playing. You'll see the timer counting down, 407, 406 down in the bottom right next to the house. So it gives you the little countdown there, even if you're not using the clock, which you can turn on or off. You don't have to have that clock on. All right. You know, all these songs are kind of quiet. But anyway, this is your play and pause. I'm doing it manually but you know, the remote will do the same thing here. And when you hit the next button, you'll see it does its fade out, turns red. So you have a very bright visual indicator of what's going on the device. Yellow is pause, green is play, red is fade. So you know that when you hit your remote button and it happens instantly, you'll see a visual cue, so you know that your signal was received. So that's really handy. Now, if I go back in here, I'm just going to turn off the timer for a second, just to show you what that looks like. You just have that empty space in the screen. If you're not using a timer, the countdown timer, that top left is not available or not necessary. You can turn that off, so you don't have to be distracted by a timer counting down. Like I said, it will change the screen colors if you want warnings. So you're looking at your iPad and you glance over and you see it's turning pink. You know you got 5 minutes or less to finish up, and if you see it's red, you know you've gone over your time. So just little visual indicators. There's so many little features, and I probably even haven't touched on all of them yet. But
well, Carl, we got some questions actually. If you look at your iPhone where the questions coming in, we got 2 questions and a comment too. If you want to look at those or read them to our users.
Okay, let me see if I can find these.
Should be coming up on your messages. One I can answer. It was is if I buy. It came from Michael, I believe. He said if I purchase show cues for my iPhone and then decide I want to use it for my iPad, do I need to purchase the app again for iPad? And Carl, you can answer that.
Okay, that's a good question. No, you don't have to purchase it again, because back when we started with 3.0, we made it so that it's a universal app and will work on all Apple devices and sizes. And you can put it on any one of your devices that uses the same App Store account or iTunes account, so that they know it's yours. So any device you own, you can put one copy of show cues on all the devices. I don't see anything in message. I don't know why I'm not getting
in our chat. Turn on iMessage on your phone. Are you on Wi-Fi or is it in airplane mode?
No, I'm on Wi-Fi on my phone.
Okay, well, I got another question is, can you not change the parameters of the first track in the playlist? And I think you just have to go into the track setting for the first track, correct?
In the track settings for the first track, I advise people not to put any of the individual settings. I mean, you can make a dummy first track if you wanted to do that, you know, a blank track or something. Because what happens when show cues initializes, when that curtain opens, what it's doing is it's actually playing the first track, going to the second, coming back to the first, all in a millisecond. but it initializes it so that ShowCues knows it has control of your music, not the Apple Music player, nothing else. No, just ShowCues takes control. So it's initializing, and it uses that track. So if you put a delay on that track, or you put some other settings on that track, it would screw things up, and it'd probably go haywire. So I just, some of them might work and some of them wouldn't work. So I just say don't put anything on the first track. And if that track is a track you want to use, then make a dummy track and put that in the first position.
I know people that have their welcome music, so they basically put a bunch of songs together and make it one long track, and that's their house music when the door is open.
Right.
First track, and then they go, and then they can restart the timer, and then they're ready to go for showtime.
Right. Or they can tell the timer not to start until, let's say you have 10 tracks that are your pre-show or walk-in music, and track number 11 is the actual first track of your show. You tell the timer not to start till track number 11, and then on the other 10 tracks, you tell it to play nonstop, and those tracks will just play one right after the other. When it gets to track 11, you tell it pause, and now you're ready for the show.
Okay.
So you don't even have to have them all in one long file. You can just load in whatever you want, and then let's say you had 10 tracks set for when the walk-in music was going on, but they want to start the show early. Well, then all you have to do is hit pause, and let's say it was on track 7, and then just advance to track 11, and the timer will still go as soon as you hit play on track 11, and you're off and running.
Okay. I have some other questions coming in. It says, why is it sometimes when I click to turn the volume up, it'll automatically start to turn the volume down all the way? Maybe that's the individual track they have set low. Oh, how can you answer that?
Well, if individual track settings are used, that would affect it going up or down. And the other thing is, I noticed some of the volume quirks to me were when somebody was using the iJet remote. So I'm just going to assume that this person is using an iJet remote, and I have found their volume up and down buttons to not be consistently.
So it's just reading it as like a volume down if like there's something wrong with the button on the remote or something with the hardware with the remote.
Yeah, it just seems to be a quirk with the iJet, and not all of them, just some of them. Yeah, and because I played with that too, and I noticed I was pushing it, I go, whoa, look how that jumped. So yeah, it's just part of the inconsistency and why we weren't totally happy. And it's, like I said, not every iJet remote, but enough of them to be concerning.
Well, there's a distance issue too. But somebody's asking the question, actually. They say, do you need to sync the audio ape with ShowCues, or will it work right out of the box? You and I both know that it just works.
Right out of the box. Plug it in, it's ready to go. Turn it on, you're ready.
And awesome. the remote and the receiver get paired at the factory at Audio Ape. So your remote will be paired to the receiver that you get. If you order spare remotes, all you have to do, there's a little tab on the back. Actually, let me see if I can grab the camera here for a second. There's a little tab on the back right here. You just pop this off, and there's a dip switch. Oops, there's a dip switch array right in there. And you just look at the remote you already have, and then you just match the numbers, and then that's it. There's no pairing or holding multiple buttons or something like that. Keep it very simple. That was my motto. That's what we do. All right.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think the reason I'm not getting the questions is because I have notifications turned off, so it doesn't interrupt me.
Yeah, I see. Make sure to turn them on then.
Let's see.
Oh, one said, how do I ask questions for the webinar? That came in from Terry. Terry, you're doing it. So just
That's pretty good. Actually asking the question about the questions.
Oh, somebody asked if there's a way to make the countdown timer bigger. I got a solution to that. Get an iPad Pro.
Yeah, there you go. Get a bigger screen. I mean,
you have the biggest timer in the business, I think.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who's got a bigger and better display than ShowCues, saying that modestly, but it really does show more than anything I've seen as far as actually being able to see what you're doing. Now, some people make a little stand. They have a stand I've seen they put on the microphone on stage, and it attaches to the iPad so they can't miss it. You can see it that close. For me, when I wanted to use it, I wasn't really looking at the time. I was just looking for the warning so I knew I was getting close to the end. So it wasn't important for me to see exactly how many seconds. Otherwise, you need to locate it someplace off stage where you can see it a little bit better. And yeah, that's about the biggest display. I don't know that we have any more real estate to use.
Right. No, I think it's sized correctly. All right, we got another question coming in. Can you use 2 Audio Ape remotes at the same time? We are a 2-person act, and each of us might need opportunity to move to the next track. You can absolutely. You can pair infinite amount of remotes. All you do is just take that that tab off the back and just match the dip switches. Also, when you get your Audio Ape, when we program them at the factory, we're going to scramble these. They have about over 1,000 combinations, so you're not going to get any crosstalk with anybody else's system. So all you have to do is just pop off any remote you get, just pop off the back and match the thing, and you can have 100 different remotes all talking in the same receiver. Now here's another thing. If you wanted to, you could have 2 receivers being controlled by 1 remote. I'll go into in-depth how you can do that, but it's pretty easy. You would actually open the receiver, and then you could actually have 2 show cues apps running, 2 different iPads, either for backup purposes or more creatively, you can have one that goes to your tech crew and route it into their headsets. So basically, when you hit the track plays out into the audience, and the other receiver plays a track on the other one, and that gives all your stage direction to your sound guys or all your lighting cues to tell them to go cue or anything like that. So you can have auxiliary comments happening parallel with your sound cues if you have 2. And I know a couple people ordered 2 receivers. I don't know if that was the purpose or if they're just using it as a backup, but you have that option. So it's very interesting. Let me turn it back to Carl here.
It's kind of smart to have 2. It's nice to have a backup. I know a lot of people that have been using 2 remotes, even on stage. Sometimes they have one in a pocket and one in a box, or there's 2 people in the act and they each have. So yeah, that's not a bad idea always to have 2.
Okay, here's another question here, good one from Terry. Sometimes I can't get audio output from the iPad until I unplug the audio cable and plug it back in. Is that an iJet issue, or is that an iPod issue, or what do you think, Carl?
iJet.
iJet, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, we don't have any of those problems here. It's just everything's hot swappable, so you can unplug the power, you can unplug the iOS cable, you can do anything in any order and plug it all back in any order, and it will perform the exact 100% same every single time.
Yeah, the thing with audio with the iJet was that you plug that cable in, and then of course once you plug the cable in, you can't hear anything. So people go, "Oh, I don't hear any sound," but you have to have a headset on, or of course be plugged into a sound system. But if that cable gets loose, either the dock or the cable, then it's a problem. You have to put them in a certain order. There has to be so many seconds in between. It's just a lot more difficult to use than Audio Ape.
Yeah, when you're on stage and you're under pressure, that is no good. This is actually a question. He amended the question about the timer. He was saying actually he was referring to the delay timer, the red number that goes over the counting down when you use the delay feature.
Oh, that's what he was saying. He wanted to be larger.
Right.
That's a possibility. The reason it's that size because I don't use the iPad. I use the iPhone and an iPod Touch, and I give the sound guy the iPod Touch, or I have it on my iPhone if I'm using it, and that takes up the whole. That's big on the iPhone, or the iPod Touch. And when I made it universal so that it went on the iPad, I probably did not size it large enough to be take advantage of the extra real estate. So I'm going to make a note of that right now. And put that in the next update. I'm working on one right now. This last 2 weeks I've been updating some things.
Right. Okay. Actually, we got a comment coming in, not a question. It's nice. It says, this solves every single frustration I had with MP3 tech, and several that I didn't even know I had.
Yeah, I'm actually able to see these
now. You start using new products, you really don't. And I love Gary, and his products were great. He got me through almost 20 years of not talking to sound men, but this is 3.0, and it's about time. Thanks to both of you. So shout out to us. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, that's great.
There's somebody saying, let's see what else we got. Tim Gaines, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, how do we order an additional remote? I didn't think that was an option. Yeah, we actually just made it an option recently, so you can do that on the website. So you can go right on the website, order as many remotes as you need, and we will ship them with your order in a couple weeks.
Very cool.
Okay, here's another question. Graham, he said, I'm not sure if the question has been asked. He got on late, he hopped on late. When I play my track 2, it shows it's track 2 on my iPad, but it plays track 3 music. However, this app is amazing and best purchase I made last year. So he's being very nice about this question. What do you think, Carl?
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing the first thing that I would troubleshoot is make sure there's no individual track setting there. Usually when tracks don't play like according to when they're supposed to, a lot of times it's because the track is not on the device, it's in the cloud. And then sometimes people either have connection or they don't have connection, and just that's the other thing. I would check and make sure that the tracks are in the cloud. If you would try just to troubleshoot this by putting 2 different tracks at the big, well, I guess it was track 2 and track 3, just make those 2 different tracks and then see if they play in order. So that would take just a little bit of troubleshooting, but it's probably either a track or a setting.
All right, I do have another question too from a guy. He said that he's an MP3 user also, as well as show cues. He says he likes his remote with an LED so he can glance and let him know it's been triggered rather than just having the visible screen. And good news, actually, Terry, because our new version, you saw the little LED green light on the unit here. Let me switch back to my view here. This little light right here, it's bright when you actually don't have the other lights here, okay? You can see it on stage very easily. The other one's gonna be brighter also, but also it's gonna have feedback. So when you click the remote, any of the command functions, you'll see this blink. You'll see it blink on and off as every time you send a remote signal to it.
Very good.
And also it has the overload feature. So the new one will, and I don't think any system has this, if you plug in some power and there's a surge or the power block is faulty or something happens and this unit gets an overload on voltage, not the 5 volts it recommended, but 10, whatever voltage runs through, there's a fuse inside of here. It's actually more like a circuit breaker because it self-resets itself. So if it gets a spike, the LED over here is going to glow red, and it's going to shut everything down and shut the power to your iOS system. So that way it doesn't fry your iPod or your iPad or anything like that. And then as soon as you unplug the faulty power, it resets itself, and you can plug in a healthy adapter and you're back where you were and protected. So that's about the LED.
Yeah, it's got plenty of visual aids there.
Yeah.
Hey, and I'm still thinking about the guy with the track 2.
Sure.
When you have questions like that, feel free to send me an email. We can Skype or FaceTime or whatever, and I can actually see what's going on. It'd be faster for me to troubleshoot it if I can actually have you show me the device on the screen. So yeah, don't hesitate. I'll be happy to give anybody support if they need it and something doesn't look right.
All right, I got another question. I'm currently using the click wheel iPod to run my shows. Will the ape work with that? Actually, you know what? That's one thing I still haven't tested. I'm not sure if it will or not. But to be honest, I don't want people doing that. I don't want people running their show without either an iPod or an iPhone or something where you can use a pro app where there's fade outs and queue ups and just there's so many great features. And if you need to, you can get an iPod used for $100 off of eBay or used
iPod Touch. iPod Touch, yeah.
It makes no sense to invest, money into a great system and then try and save $100 by cutting out all the options that these pro apps give you. It says he does have an old iPhone 3 that he'd like to use, and that will work.
Yeah,
so you're in business.
I think as long as he can get iOS 6 or higher on there, he's fine.
Right. I'm going to flag some of these so I can answer them later off topic. So Carl, is there anything else that you want to talk about with your app? I know I kind of pulled you off target with all these questions.
Oh yeah, no problem. Important to answer the questions. I think I gave him a nice enough overview of the app. Like I said, there's a ton of features on there. I don't use all of them. They're just there if people need different things for the app to do. And I always listen to the feedback from the users, and that's how we keep adding features with each one of these updates. We're always trying to make it.
I think this question comes in just at the right time too. He asks if you have any plans to use iCloud or similar things like Dropbox so playlists can be synced across devices and backed up. I know you talked about it.
Yeah, it's actually on my to-do list. If you looked at my browser now and my desktop, which you can't see, there's a bunch of files that I've already downloaded with information on how to do that. So it may not be in the next update because that one's just about done, but it'll probably be in the one after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, another comment. Kick ass. Great. All right.
Oh, cool.
Good.
Yeah, and the guy who's talking about the track wheel, that's very funny. But yeah, for my show, I actually just travel with I have show cues on my iPhone all the time, so it's always there. But I also bought just a cheap iPod Touch online, and that's the one I give the sound guy to use. So he doesn't have my real phone; he just has an iPod Touch, and I use it to run my shows, and it's perfect. So they're cheap enough to find if you don't want to put it on your phone, or you have an Android phone and you want to use show cues. You can buy an iPod Touch for $100, $150 at the most, and run your show. I've had people actually, they were Android users, and they really wanted show cues. They actually bought an iPad, and all they do with it is run show cues.
And you know what? To be honest, I do the same thing. I have a dedicated device for my show.
Yeah.
I just don't have anything on it. I always just keep it always in airplane.
Yeah.
I know what it is at all times. It's always in my gear bag. I don't have to think, did I pack it or not? So dedicated device, I don't see really. I think that's the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Oh, here, there's another comment. He said, thanks for answering the question. This is from Graham. He said, thanks for answering the question. And I can say Carl has helped me a few times in support on the Facebook page with very timely response and great service. So
thank you.
Another shout out for you, Carl.
Yeah, thank you.
You showed the two times to edit and delete. I can add as well. That was the question.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand the question, but the two times, let me go back to that screen. Hold on. You showed the 2 times, edit, delete. Can I add as well? Yeah, that was the plus button. Let me go back to the screen here. Screen. Oh. No, I'm not sharing yet. Okay, hold on. There we go. Take a second, just hop over here. My screen back on?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to go back in here to the playlist. Hope this answers the question. The edit is to move things around or delete tracks. The 2 times is to make a duplicate of that same playlist and maybe make some slight changes to it, and you give it another name. The folder is where all your different playlists are saved for all your different shows. When you're creating a new playlist, that's the square with the pencil, and that plus button, that's whenever you want to add a song. So you can add an album, you can add a song.
Playlist? Can you add a whole playlist?
Yeah, actually, that's what I do. I usually make a playlist on iTunes on my computer, and then I just import the playlist, and it's a lot faster.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. And that way you know it's on your computer and it's on your iPad, not in the cloud.
Right. Yeah. You don't, like I said, in the new version of show cues when it comes out, if it's in the cloud, it's not even going to show up here. You won't even see it. Where all these songs are, it won't even show up. So if you knew you had a song and you wanted it and it's not showing up, now you know it's in the cloud. And a simple process is to just go into the Apple Music app, look next to the song, you see the 3 dots. When you press that, if it shows you a cloud, it's in the cloud. So, okay, that's the plus button. That's pretty much it. And when you go back, it's saved. And now you have that song added.
You know, have you ever had anybody use it like very creatively? Like I was actually thinking of something, and a group I know is really thinking about using this. They actually don't use audio in their show, but they do want to use a click track, and they want to send signals to their light engineers. So what they did is they made a click track for it's a vocal group. So the guy who keeps the rhythm does the click track, wears the click track, and basically they have to make an audio file that has the right channel is going to be a click, and the left channel is going to be stage direction. And so nothing gets played to the audience. What happens is the click gets routed to the musician in his ear, and he goes by the beat, and then the other track feeds out to the lighting tech and says, you know, Q1, Q2, and, you know, stagehand, move table here. And you can do that. And you can actually do that with a regular magician's track. So you could have one track be your actual audio going out to your audience, and the other track, channel right, be, I mean, you have to build this in an audio application like Audacity or GarageBand or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But basically you build the track, and so it has your music on top of the audience here and stage direction underneath that you can route to your stage tech, crew, or lighting. So that's actually a really creative way to basically, and you know, it's even easier than automating it, because everybody on the headset hears it. You know, so if somebody's not doing their job, everybody knows it.
Right, immediately. There's a lot of creative things you can do. I would say the average user, the Showcuse user to me, seems to not be computer literate enough to make a click track, or even edit a track for that matter. So,
yeah. And that's the beauty of yours. It's just like, and you show these advanced settings, but by default, basically, if you just pull up a playlist of 9 songs, they would just be in order. They'd be all the same volume, and then when you hit next, it would fade out and queue up the next one and stop.
Yeah,
correct.
It can be very, very simple. It's just, it could be as simple as play, fade, and it does everything automatically for you. All you have to do is load the songs in, and by default, you just play and fade.
Terry says, after I've duplicated a list, I see you can delete the songs, but can I add songs to that newly duplicated list?
Yes, just hit the plus. There's a plus button at the top of the screen. Hit the plus button to add songs.
Another comment, the stage notes on another track is an incredible idea. Thanks.
See, he'll be making click tracks now.
Yeah, everything looks good. Oh, by the way, we do have a special offer here. If you guys want, I'm going to put this up at the end too. We have a special code. If you order Audio Ape in the next 24 hours, we want to give you a free case. That's just something for people who are on this webinar or watching the replay. Just put if you're in the checkout, just use this code right here, and we'll get you a free carry case like that, so you can travel in style. Yeah.
And we're going to be giving away a free Showcuse app. Lucky listener.
There's another good one. Thanks so much, guys. Hey, just so everybody knows, I have an MP3 tech for sale.
So do I.
Yeah.
I waited too long. You know, I don't know. I waited too long. It's sitting in my closet right now. I can't sell it.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other features you want to go over there, Carl? Anything else you want to mention?
I'm trying to think. Just make sure I didn't leave anything out. I mean, probably always do just a little bit. You know, think about it after the webinar is over.
Make comments on the YouTube if you want. We're almost at an hour too, so you know, we're pretty you know, we're pretty much running on time. Did you have a favorite question that we had asked?
Let me glance back over here real quick.
Right. I liked about the 2 remotes, I think. I'm gonna have to look back on that. Let's see. That's that.
Oh, I knew one thing I wanted to mention. Because I saw what I think the question is going to be for me, but it reminded me of something else. In Showcuse, when you add all those settings, and let's say you make a bunch of cues for each track in the cue sheet feature, and then you delete the app, well, that's going to erase any documents or cues that you made. So what I do is I go into iTunes on my computer, and I think there's like more info or something like that, and it brings up a little box, and you can actually type in notes. Well, I type in the cues there. So even if I deleted Showcuse or wanted to put it on a brand new device, when I sync my computer to my new device, those cues come right on Showcuse without me having to type them in again. Now those cues will not appear in the Showcuse box in Showcuse, but if you turn the cue sheet feature on, Showcuse looks to see if you did that first, and then if you didn't, it looks to see if you did it in Showcuse as far as adding cues, comments. So if you want them permanent, you can add them in iTunes, and you can Google that for more information, or FaceTime me or something. But that's how we have a Facebook site for Shokus, and I think it was somebody might have posted it there, because I've gotten a lot of great ideas from users posting on Facebook. But that brings me to what I thought would be my favorite question. Is somebody asked if there were any plans to use the iCloud or similar playlists so they could be synced. And of course, this way you wouldn't have to sync them, because they're going to be permitted on your computer. But I had been looking into that, so that's going to be my question.
If that's your favorite question, I think that guy has won a free download that he can use himself. If he already has the app, then he can give it to somebody, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so congratulations for asking a great question. I like the additional remote because I know a lot of people didn't know about this. So Tim Gaines, I'm going to flag you and send you off a T-shirt for chiming in on that one. We appreciate your input and your questions.
Charles, you have his email for my question. You have his name and email?
Save the question, and I definitely have his email and info. And
okay. I'll be emailing him a code to download a free copy.
Okay. A lot of people ask me, they're like, hey, we already ordered at an early adopter. Do we get a case free? No, you get $200 off. That's what you got.
Merry Christmas.
So if you buy a new case at retail, the real price right now for the next 24 hours, you can use this code and put it in, and then you get a free case. And I do want to thank everybody for ordering when they did. It really it meant a lot, and it gave me the confidence to really push forward and get this thing out fast and get it out quick. We're doing great on shipping, and hopefully in a couple weeks we can start shipping them out to you. We will keep you posted, as always. Every Tuesday, I will send you an email if there's news. If there's not news, I don't care. I'm checking in with you guys and letting you know what's happening.
Hey, one more thing, Charles. I just want to point out to him that what's important to note is that both Shokus and Audio Ape Remote are made by working professionals, by entertainers. So we know what it's like. We know what we need on stage, and we listen to you. And that's how we've evolved over the time by adding more and more features and updates. So I don't think you get that with a lot of different products, actually having them developed and created by actual pros. And Sean Pop, who got me to do the programming the first time, he asked me about it, and I said, I'll think about it. And then he asked me about it again a few months later, and I thought, oh, okay, he's persistent. So, so you have three, as far as the ideas, three full-time professionals creating these apps, and I think that's important to note that.
Right. And a lot of people ask me why I joined this party. There's a lot of reasons. Almost every piece of electronics or prop that had electronics or show automation or whatever, I would find myself hacking it. And I would actually improve the product. Some of the developers would come to me, how'd you do that? And so I was always like, I needed it to be exactly the way I wanted it. And I understood that it had to be 100% reliable. And so I hacked probably about 3 or 4 different things that I got and made them the way I wanted. And also I had a bit of I collected pinball machines. So I used to repair those things. I'm familiar with circuitry and electronics. But of course, I wanted this to be absolutely perfect, and we had to design it from the ground up. So I had a great R&D team, research and development team, that literally they built for NASA and for Boeing. And I had contacts with them from a couple other projects I've worked on. And so immediately I enlisted them, and they've been great. And I've been just thrilled by their work. And so I was kind of the bridge. I knew a lot of the technology, and I knew all of the performer needs, and those things kind of combined. And it was funny because Carl and I have been working together for over a decade on different gigs. And so I talked to him last, and he was, we're talking about the remote, and I said, well, you got to do this. This is the way to fix that. You can get this built. And he's like, why don't you do this? And I'm like, and he's like, just let me know. And so I thought about it, and I poked around and saw how got some preliminary numbers together and everything like that, and some preliminary research. I was like, yeah, I can do this. And so I became the guy. A little bit of knowledge, had the resources with R&D, knows the performance needs, and I had the capital to do it all myself. So here I am. So thanks, Carl.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome pairing. I'm excited.
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for joining the webinar. This will be available on the replay. And thanks for your great questions. We'll get those prizes sent out, and we'll see you again sometime. Audio Ape out.
Thanks for watching.